Hi, I'm Luke. We're going to do a quick run through of the GenAI workshop. So the first thing you have to do is to go to deploy.helix.ml and then log in order to get yourself a virtual machine. I'm going to log in with this account here, and I've already got one running, but I will just check that I can provision a new one. In fact, I'm going to log in using my other account, provision a completely new one. You can also see here who's got those assigned. So I'm just going to call this workshop. That should only just take a second to pop one. And yes, then we can see it here. Okay, so we have Helix up and running. This instance is a dedicated instance just for me. I can see the terminal here. I can see it's got a couple of CPUs and some memory, and it's got some Docker containers running. So what I need to do now is I need to log in to this. So I'm going to register for a new account. The private deployment has a separate user system, so you have to register for a separate account there. But now you've got this account, you're an admin on your deployment, so you can see the dashboard like you might want to. Okay, so I've managed to provision an account, register for access, create my deployment, register, and I can say, tell me a joke. Let's see if that works. Yep, it's always been telling me the same joke today, but that does the job. So I'm going to make an app. I go in here, go to your apps. I'm going to have a comedian app. You have to always scroll down and click save before you do anything else. And I'm going to say the instructions are, you are funny. Now I want this comedian to tell me a joke every time I talk to him or it. But at the moment it doesn't tell me jokes. So I obviously have some prompt engineering to do to make my comedian funny. So we'll come back to that in a second. I want to show you something else you can do. So you can go here, you can create another app. I'm going to go and upload some HR documents. In fact, there's this HR document that I found on the internet that I'm just going to download there. So what you do for that is you go to the ... menu. This isn't super obvious, but you click Files, create a new folder. I'm going to call it HR Docs. I'm going to go into my HR Docs folder. I'm going to upload my files, and I'm going to upload the policy document. And then I'm going to make a new app that references that. So I'm going to go to your apps, knowledge, file store, HR Docs, save. Oops, didn't click save. HR Docs, save. There we go. Okay, so that is indexing that document. Should just take a second. If you're interested in watching what's going on, you can look at the logs of your API server. It looks like it's submitting 119 kilobytes of Markdown, which will just take a few seconds to run. See, TypeSense is busy using all of one CPU, which is what it does because it runs the embedding model on CPU, so it takes a second, but that is okay. So now we can ask, what is the annual leave policy? We can check, we can actually search that. We can ask the question, what is the annual leave policy? And it talks about the annual leave policy for whatever random foundation I found the HR policy document for. Okay. So now we're going to do API integration. So here we go, apps, create a new API integration. I'm going to call it exchange rates. I'm going to click save. I'm going to go to integrations, add an API tool, exchange rates. I'm going to ask what is the USD to GBP rate today. Click save. This is going to go away and make an API call. And that's fine. That does the trick. But the whole point of this workshop is about testing. So the way that you do tests, so what we've done is we've built a bunch of apps and we've used vibes to talk about whether we're happy with the way that they're behaving. But what you really need to do when you're building GenAI applications is put some structure around how you test them. And the way that you do that is by using an LLM as a judge. And so let me show you how we can actually put a sort of testing framework around this. So I've made a new repo here on GitHub to hold my GenAI applications. And I'm going to start by putting some YAML files into it. So if I go, I'm going to go and get the YAML file for my comedian. And I'm going to go to the developers tab, grab the comedian. I'm going to say comedian.yaml. And then we're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to go in here. We're going to go to account and API. We're going to install the CLI. So that will just take a second to type your password. And if you are using Windows, then there's some instructions on how to do this on Windows here that involves setting environment variables in a slightly different way. So feel free to refer to the doc if you need to do that. Sorry, Windows users, we need to give you easy copy-paste examples. If you're on Mac or Linux, then you can do the easy copy-paste from your account page here. So you go to account and API and it's all here. While we're here, we can just check that we can actually make API calls to the system using the OpenAI compatible API. And it can answer questions about things like how big was the Roman Empire. We were trying to test, trying to create some tests for this app. Oh yeah, let's just check that Helix app ls works. So yeah, I can see the different apps that I've created already. So let's just learn about the CLI. The first thing you can do is do helix apply-f on the comedian, and that will notice that there's already a comedian app, and then update the app. Let's go and look at our app store. We've got the comedian in here, and actually I've got a version of this YAML spec that's got some images in it, which I can put in here. And I'm going to go ahead and deploy that version of it. And then you can see that comedian with a capital C. Haha. So we've now got a comedian with a capital C, one of my favorite comedians, Bill Hicks. So let's see, is Bill Hicks any good? Didn't tell me a joke. Rubbish. I want a comedian that tells me a joke. So I'm going to write a test for this comedian. In fact, there was one snuck in here. This test is that when I say, hey, I want a joke, it must be an actual joke. So now we're going to do our first bit of testing. We can do helix test-f on the comedian. And we're going to see a test report. Ah, interesting. The response provided does not contain an actual joke, but rather a casual greeting and invitation to chat. Well, that's no good. We can also see the debug info, so we can see the exact API call, the request, and the response. And if we think about it, we didn't actually tell the comedian that it always has to tell us a joke. So let's edit the comedian YAML and say you must tell a joke on every single interaction. So now we'll do that. And let's see if that... Oh, it passed. Okay. And we can see that meets the expected output, is the way it puts it. And we can also look at the debug info. We can see that indeed, when you set the system prompt to tell me to tell a joke on every interaction, then in this case, we did indeed get a joke. Okay, so fine. So far, so good. But let's test something a little bit more interesting. The next thing we're going to do is do testing on that API integration that we had. So let's go and grab the YAML for the API integration. So that is the exchange rates app. And we're going to see that the integration is here. We can extract this YAML from it here. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my choice of text editor and put exchange rates.yaml in here as well. I'm just going to check Helix apply-f. Exchange rates should not change the app at all. It's still there. I can launch it. I can say USD GBP. I'll try that one more time. So there's a bug in this app, which is that I asked for USD GBP, but I actually got exchange rates for a bunch of different currencies as well, and I don't want that. So I'm going to start by writing a test for it that should fail. And I should probably commit. I'm going to do a git ignore. I'm going to git ignore star.json, star.md, and star.html for now. It's nice to version control your applications, and GenAI applications are no different. So I can see I've now got these bits. I didn't mean to install the git. I don't need that in my version control history. Okay, so yeah, I've got the comedian in here. I've got the exchange rates app in here. So let's do something. Let's actually write a test for the exchange rates app. Now that will involve, I just refer to one I've seen before, one I did before. So that one, I'm going to write some tests like this. Under assistance. I'm going to put some tests. So I'm going to get the these tests that I wrote last time, and then well, I can do Helix test. Oh, not on the comedian. Oops. Do Helix test on the exchange rates. Looks like I have a failing test. That's what that F stands for. Okay, so the response includes multiple exchange rates and sources. So yes, that is indeed the thing I'm trying to fix. So, I mean, before I go ahead and try and fix it, I think it might be good to try and set up this repo to automatically test in CI. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a, and I'm just going to delete all of these files. They just kind of annoy me. I should put them in a folder, really. Oops. Didn't mean to delete all of them, sorry. Didn't mean to delete the readme.markdown file. Oh yeah, that was in there already. Oh well. I should probably, I'm just mucking around now, but the that should be like summary underscore star results underscore star report underscore star more specific, git ignore. Yeah, anyway, so where was I? I was adding the test to the exchange rate. I think I just did a git reset on that by mistake. So let me just pull that back. So I've got the tests that I'm going to grab again here. So I'm going to push the tests in there. And then I'm going to go and grab a GitHub configuration. I'm going to reuse this one from Jira that I used before. Oh, look, that is a bug in there. That should be vars, not secrets. Spent ages trying to figure that out. Couldn't figure it out. So I'm going to use that one. Because what this does is if there's a pull request, it's going to run the test. And then on deployment, it's going to, on merge to main, it's going to go ahead and deploy that. Should this only be on main? Is that a bug? Oh yeah, no, look, this is, it only runs on main. It runs on pull requests into main and pushes into main. So that's that case there. Okay, so let's do this. mkdir github /workflows, and then vim github workflows helix.yaml. I happen to know, I noticed that the app I actually want to test is called exchange rates. So we need to specify that there, and we also want to be deploying the exchange rates app. So we're going to go ahead and push that. Add CI. And then this one is called testing GenAI. And it's going to fail because we haven't set the environment variables. So what we need to do is we need to go into the secrets and variables for GitHub Actions. We need to create a variable for that one called Helix URL. Helix URL corresponds to this one inside your private Helix deployment. We've got Helix URL, so I'm just going to grab that one. Helix URL, and we've got a secret, which is Helix API key, and so we're going to use that. I'm going to put that in there. Now we can retry our job. Waiting for GitHub Actions is always the slowest part of the workshop. How are we doing? Okay, so it failed. Let's look at the test report. Well, it failed for exactly that reason. So that's cool, because now we can make a pull request and try and fix it. So I'm going to say fix USD GBP, and then I'm going to edit the exchange rates app. And I'm going to look at how you specify some of the prompting that goes into these API calls. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this from here. So this is some of the additional parameters we support. So you can specify a request prep template, this is the default value for it. But what I've done here is I've additionally said when constructing the API call, if the user asks for a currency pair, split it apart and search for the non-US dollar currency, for example, currency GBP. And then the next thing that you need is if in the response template, then we say we only present the US dollar to given currency rate, not any other currencies other than the two in the currency pair the user provided. So now, let's just see if that fixes it. So we can do helix test-f exchange rates. And interesting, it still fails. It fails because of a test bug. The response mentions other currencies, US dollar, and does not specifically mention both US dollar and GBP. So what I found is that it helps to use a better, sort of stronger model for the tests, which is to say, if you set the evaluation model because that's an incorrect evaluation. If you set the evaluation model in Helix test like that, which I should really make the default, let's just try that. Test it manually before we push it. Then we can see if that is indeed better at evaluating it. Oh, interesting. It mentions GBP to US dollar. I'm going to tell it that that's okay in this example. I don't mind if they're the wrong way around. Of course, we could spend a lot of time finessing these prompts to make it handle various different cases, but this is just kind of showing you the flow, the process. So let's edit the exchange rates app and say it's okay if it shows the GBP to USD rate instead. And then try that out. Okay, hooray, we finally got 2 passing tests. And we've got a branch, so we can do a commit. And we can push that. And then in GitHub, we can make a pull request. Should really write a better pull request description. But then because I'm opening a pull request, I can quite happily see that it's running the PR. Installing Helix. Testing. Doing evaluations. Running those tests. Okay, commented on the PR. Let's go and look at the PR. Oh, cool. Okay, 2 passing tests. We can merge the pull request. I should probably get a colleague to review it, but I've got passing tests, so YOLO. Here we go. Now we're running the test on main, and that's going to actually deploy the change to production because we do continuous delivery. Yeah, okay, it updated the exchange rates app, so we can go and look at the exchange rates app in our Helix deployment. And here we go. Exchange rates. Looks like I've got some cleanup to fix. Launch the exchange rates app, which, by the way, we can make public so that everyone in the world with access to this URL can now access it. I guess actually I would need to sign up for a separate account to demonstrate that, but yeah, let's do USD GBP. It worked. Hey, okay, cool. So yeah, the last thing I want to say is we'd love to know what you'd like to see next in the workshop. And the other thing is if you'd like a private workshop, please email me, Luke at Helix.ml, and we can actually pair on your specific application. And I would love to spend time with you working on your own use cases. So yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. See you next time.